We have a really unique and incredible after show tonight. I'm really happy to introduce the author of Getting Back to Jane. Um, and go ahead and share whatever you want to share, Robin, and then when you're ready, I'll play the video.
Well, just thank you for hosting this and this amazing weekend, this Earth weekend. As everyone's saying, it's really going to have a ripple effect. So I'm Robin Streichler, and happy to be a part of this whole evening, and especially so excited about this inaugural presentation of the Awakening World Players. And we just made that up because we're starting new things all the time. We're just generating novel, new, beautiful things. So now we have the Awakening World Players, and they'll be sharing some scenes from my new climate disaster apocalyptic rom-com feature screenplay, Getting Back to Jane. And I wrote that specifically to address the need for positive visions in our mainstream entertainment. So even though it sounds like it's an apocalyptic rom-com, it's unlike the usual hopeless and dystopian stories. This script offers a surprisingly positive vision for our future. And it explores our material mind lead character, Jackie's self-discoveries as she attempts an against all odds journey in a world whose only hope for survival is to place love, compassion, and cooperation above all. And the line that summarizes a screenplay is called a logline. So the summary line for this screenplay is, when a catastrophic event threatens Earth, a workaholic lawyer embarks on an against all odds journey to return to her beloved, to repair their relationship, and maybe even the world in the process. So we're gonna roll the recording we made of the reading. We have some actors here, so stay tuned. Scott and the actors and myself will have a discussion about bringing positive vision to mainstream entertainment after the reading. So stick around and enjoy. We're gonna introduce our players today, and we'll spotlight each of them as we introduce them. Our lead character, Jackie Roberts, will be played by Laura Coyle, and her beloved Jane Zarelli is played by Karis Morgan Moyer. Scott Katamas will be our scene directions reader. The rest of the cast will be playing multiple roles, so I'll name the role they first appear in. Harry Zarelli will be played by Bill Hoverston. Catherine Woodward Thomas will play Lorraine Zarelli. Victor Dickerson is news anchor Dan Dansky. Jan Kaplan is reporter Suzanne Ramirez. Sarah Sullivan will play Claire Humphrey. Jessica Yip, who plays our narrator, also plays national television news anchor Madeline Chu.
What if you found yourself 5,000 miles away from the love of your life, and just as you're determined to race back to her to repair a terrible rift in your relationship, a global disaster strikes, knocking out all normal means of communication and transportation? Let's get a glimpse into Jackie's story and how things led up to this very predicament. Our story begins in Boston, a few weeks before the following scene, when Jackie finds herself in an impossible situation. Just a few weeks before Jackie's wedding to her beloved Jane, Jackie's boss pressures Jackie into believing that the only way to save their struggling law firm is for her to travel across the country to handle a major pharmaceutical company merger, which unfortunately occurs on the same day as her wedding. In this scene, a mere week before the wedding, Jackie still hasn't told Jane and her parents about the business trip.
Interior of Jane's parents' beach home, Pine Island, Maine. It's the morning. And it's the weekend before the wedding. Jackie and Jane sit in silence in Jane's parents' beach house, in the family room with Jane's father, Harry Zarelli. He built a comfortable life with the practicality of an immigrant's son. Lorraine, who's Jane's mother, and Jane are assembling mesh and ribbon-wrapped party favors. Meanwhile, a distracted Jackie helps a little. The Morning Every Morning show is on the television. In the background, on one of those old-fashioned wood consoled TV sets.
Coming up next, Forrest Tinkerton with more on the global storm watch and ever worsening extreme weather.
Jackie, what do you make of this weather stuff?
Honestly, I haven't been paying much attention. There's been a lot going on at work lately. In fact, funny thing.
They say it's getting worse every day. They're predicting more major worldwide weather catastrophes.
Oh, there's always some doom and gloom scenario. Remember the big Y2K scare? Nothing happened. Or that end of the world Mayan calendar thing, December 2012. Come on.
Oh, I heard that the Mayan calendar thing wasn't really about the actual end of the world. It was more about the end of the old, outdated, hostile, destructive, and greedy aspects of human society and the beginning of a new, more peaceful and harmonious world. You know, like the age of Aquarius.
Well, honey, whatever was supposed to happen, my point is, all we hear about are more horrible conflicts and problems every day.
Well, see, that might all be part of the change process. My yoga instructor said that positive things really have been happening since 2012, but you just can't tell because sometimes things look worse right before they actually get better. Like when you start to clean out the garage.
Yeah, well, it seems like the same nose to the grindstone, dog-eat-dog world to me.
Why so negative?
Actually, speaking of the grindstone, I need to tell you guys.
Shh, I want to hear this.
And now to Forrest Tinkerton with a breaking weather report.
Tell us what, Jackie?
Shh, Lorraine.
But first, Madeline Chu with an update on the World Leaders Summit in Reykjavik, Iceland.
I wanted to hear the weather. They said, up next, weather. Why do they do that if it isn't next?
Thanks, Dan. World leaders called an impromptu emergency summit in response to the recent tsunamis, which caused 2 nuclear power plant disasters, endangering and displacing hundreds of thousands of people. Many countries are demanding an immediate commitment to a nuclear-free world and safe, renewable energy to tackle the worsening climate crisis. We'll now go to Suzanne Ramirez, reporting live from Reykjavik, Iceland. Suzanne?
Suzanne Ramirez is outside with protesters behind her. They're yelling and waving signs like, "Stop poisoning our planet! Safe renewable energy now! No more fossil fuels! Nuclear-free world!" Meanwhile, riot control squads are standing ready in the background.
Madeline, these catastrophic nuclear plant disasters and the problems with security threats, radioactive waste, and uranium mining are pushing protesters and many world leaders to call for a global commitment to truly clean, safe energy sources. Gas and nuclear industry supporting superpowers are at odds with countries wanting the complete phase out of nuclear and fossil fuels.
This is certainly one of the more heated world leader summits we've seen. Thank you, Suzanne.
Heated. Global warming. Get it?
Madeline glares at Dan, tired of his puerile jokes.
Well, that wasn't the weather report. Can we talk now, Harry?
And now, after a break, updates on the escalating war in Levaquistan.
Yeah, go ahead. They are never going to get to it. So, you have something to tell us, Jackie.
Well,
What's your
I might get a promotion.
What? Speak up.
I just might be the first non-Gilson partner at Gilson & Gilson.
Congratulations, Jackie. We are so happy for
Congratulations!
you.
This calls for a drink. Hey, Lorraine, fix us something.
Brandy, scotch, wine?
Nothing for me, Mom. Dad, it's still morning.
Scotch, please. You know, it's all still kind of up in the air right now. I mean, I probably shouldn't even have said anything.
Not said anything? Why, this makes all the difference in the world. I wasn't sure about you, but now I can rest easy knowing that my little girl will be taken care of.
Lorraine rushes over and gives Jackie and Harry their drinks.
Dad, I'm a grown woman with my own career. I swear, he's stuck in the 50s.
Always be my little girl, Janie. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Congratulations are in order. You know, I think a man should be rewarded for his hard work.
Dad,
I mean, man, in the mankind sense of the word. Person. Any person, okay, should be rewarded for their hard work. Well, this gives me a lot more confidence in you. Lorraine, let's invite some more guests to the wedding. I'm feeling generous. No, not now, Lorraine. Sit down, sit down. I want to hear all of Jackie's news. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah, just the other day, I was telling Janie that marrying you wasn't worth giving up her European chamber tour for.
Dad, I was going to tell her that.
I thought that you said you didn't know the audition results yet. Anyway, isn't the tour this summer?
They moved up the tour date, and with the wedding, I'd miss mandatory rehearsals. But it's okay, really. I'm happy with my decision.
That was your dream tour. You didn't need to give it up. You should have discussed this with me. I mean, it's actually not too late to postpone the wedding if we really need.
Yeah, that's a good one. Hey, after Lorraine finishes with the new invites, we'll have over 200 guests.
It is too late, Jackie. I know you try to convince me to do it. You're always sweet and thinking of me. Listen, nothing in the world can take the place of making this the perfect wedding for us.
Jane, honey, we really need to talk about this and walk on the beach.
Okay, sure.
Hey, kids, let me grab my jacket and I'll show you where some really interesting jellyfish washed up on the beach.
For goodness sake, Harry, let them go. They want to talk.
But how many times do you get to see a strange-looking jellyfish?
Harry, maybe they just want some time to themselves.
Daytime. The main beach is complete with romantic rocky nooks and hideaways. Jackie drives a quad dirt bike down the beach. Jane sits behind her. In a fun spin, Jackie pulls to a stop. They dismount laughing and walk arm in arm by the ocean. Jackie throws stones into the waves.
What is it, honey? You seem a little distant. I'm sorry I told my folks about my decision about the tour before I told you.
I wish you told me. I mean, we could have worked it out. That tour was so important to you. And look, it's not just that. I got a lot going on.
Are you worried about the added responsibilities of your promotion? You don't have to take it, you know? I don't want a grouchy, stressed out spouse like Dad was with Mom because of his high pressure job. We're both working. Whatever happens, we'll be fine.
Jackie pulls Jane to her and gives her a kiss.
How did I get so lucky?
Come here. I want to show you something.
She takes Jackie's hand and leads her up a natural craggy rock path. Jackie stops at a small portion of the trail which narrows and is bordered by a sheer 30-foot drop into the ocean. No guardrail.
What is it? Come on. What I want to show you is only about 25 feet that way. It's okay. I've made it up this trail hundreds of times. You're not afraid of heights, are you?
Jackie pulls Jane back to the trailhead.
No. What's me afraid of a narrow little cliff trail like this that a person could easily slip off and plummet to their death? No, I just, I think I might have pulled a hamstring at the gym.
You're afraid of heights. How did I not know that?
No, I'm not. I'm just not crazy about the idea of falling from heights.
Come on, I'll show you another way, scaredy cat.
Jane takes Jackie's hand and guides her back to the water's edge. She hugs Jackie from behind and points up at the cliff rock.
Okay, you see that little cave? There, just to the right. That's where I was going to take you and share my secret hideaway with you. You're the only one I've ever told about it. Sometimes, my my folks would argue when I was a kid, no surprise. Well, that's why I think I learned to play the cello so well. Because I'd come out and sit right up there on my special smooth rock with my cello and play to the ocean. The waves always applauded.
You climbed along that cliff with your cello?
Easy. Hey, look, some seals. Let's wade out closer to them.
Jane kicks off her shoes and rolls up her pants, pulls Jackie to the water, but Jackie resists.
Come on, kick off your shoes. Let's be like those seals, just living in the moment. Just eat and play and sleep.
Jackie pulls Jane away from the water, gives her a gentle kiss, and looks into her eyes.
Look, I wish life was that simple, but I have something to tell you that's kind of difficult.
Okay, what?
Well, it's something I have to do related to my job.
Just tell me.
Okay, well, C. Gilson is having some heart episodes, so it's too dangerous for her to travel to the big pharmaceutical merger in Hawaii. So she needs me to go.
Well, that's great. We could do some of our honeymoon in Hawaii.
The meeting is next weekend.
Our wedding weekend? Well, you can change the meeting date, right? Can't someone else go?
Please understand. It needs to be me at the meeting.
I told you I don't need you to be a firm partner, Jackie. That's what this is all about.
I tried to get out of it.
Jackie.
There was no way out. It all happened so fast.
How could you do this?
Jane runs in the direction of the quad bike, but Jackie catches up with her.
Wait, Jane.
Our wedding meant so little to you that you didn't even discuss it with me? You're just telling me now?
Listen, you didn't tell me about the tour. And look. I was thinking of our future.
You were thinking of your future.
For
I know
us.
you've always wanted to make partner.
Us.
Maybe you should have considered that I might want a future with someone who is mature enough to include me in important life decisions. That's what being an us means. The guests, our family, my parents, all the arrangements.
Wait, you don't understand, Jane.
Oh, I understand, all right. And I think I gave up my tour.
The wind suddenly begins to pick up.
And I bet Gilson's cute assistant Claire is going along, huh? Oh,
No, she is not. It's just Dawn. Jane, please, we can work this out.
You're really going to do this?
Jane turns and walks away.
At least I'm glad I found out what type of person you really are before we got married.
Jackie reaches for Jane's arm. She wrenches it away. Crying, she gets on the bike and gives Jackie a one last chance look. Jackie opens her mouth, but finds no words to fix this train wreck. Jane guns the bike's engine and rides away.
Wait, don't leave me in the middle of nowhere, Jane. Wait!
Jane
Just
is
let me
already
explain.
out of earshot. Jackie just shouting to the wind.
Please, Jane, the whole firm's future was at stake. I was under tremendous pressure. I couldn't lose my job just as we were getting married. Please come back, please.
She stops shouting, stands there, stunned and alone.
I was doing it for us, for our future.
And with that, a sudden downpour drenches her.
In this next scene, depressed about losing Jane, Jackie is at the big Tenestra Pfizalton Pharmaceutical Company merger meeting in Honolulu and makes the decision to return to Jane at once to repair the relationship, especially after the one communication they had since the breakup ended in a disastrous misunderstanding. On top of that, Jackie discovers that her boss had been manipulating her and lying to her the whole time, and that she really didn't have to take the trip to save her job or the firm after all. She furiously packs to leave as her associates Claire and Dawn pound on the hotel door.
Interior of the hallway of Jackie's hotel door. Dawn and Claire are knocking on the door. The hallway, meanwhile, is packed with panicked hotel patrons racing to exit. Their clothes are hanging out of the luggage. Some are half-dressed or even in pajamas, robes, or swimsuits.
Jackie, open up! It's Dawn and Claire! It's important!
Go away. I'm not changing my mind.
It's not about the work. It's an emergency.
Oh, is Gilson having another heart attack? Does Mrs. Feiselton need a massage? Go away.
Jackie, open the door!
Jackie, fed up, finally opens the door.
What?
Dawn and Claire enter the room.
What is it? I don't really want to talk to either of you. You both set me up.
Oh, buddy, I didn't know about Mrs. Feiselton, about Gilson showing up, but look, that's not...
Oh, well, I believe you because you're usually out of the loop. But Claire?
Jackie, no. Gibson dragged me here at the last minute.
Jackie is continuing to pack her clothes.
Look, I don't know what you're up to, but I got to get going.
Claire drags Jackie to the window.
Look.
Exterior of the hotel entrance seen from Jackie's room. Complete chaos. People are fleeing from the building, pushing to get into cars. Vehicles are driving haphazardly into a gridlock. Growing background sounds of distant civil defense and police sirens. Honking. General commotion.
What the hell?
Jackie zaps on the television. The screen momentarily blinks. Then, a brief emergency broadcast system beep is heard over one of those old bullseye Indian head test patterns. Yep, they've been waiting to use this for a real emergency for decades.
This is not a test of the emergency broadcast system. I repeat, this is not a test. This is an actual emergency. Please stay tuned to this station for breaking updates and further instructions.
Dan Dansky at the news desk appears on the television screen.
This is Dan Dansky reporting for the emergency broadcast system. Fortunately, EBS's antiquated emergency broadcast technology can continue to bring you breaking news while all modern systems are down. See, the oldie but goodie holds true even in this emergency. All networks will merge with EBS to bring you 24-hour coverage. My co-anchor, Madeline Chu, and top reporters from around the globe will be here with continuing coverage of all the breaking news on the end of the world crisis. Here's our very own meteorologist, Forrest Tinkerton, to further explain the crisis.
Forrest Tinkerton, a national network meteorologist with a flair for the dramatic, gestures towards an animated graphic of the massive solar flare shooting out toward the Earth from the sun's surface.
The exponentially growing solar flare will continue to pierce through our climate crisis compromised atmosphere that no longer can protect us from this type of phenomenon. In the next few days, we'll see increasingly severe weather disaster. In exactly 97 hours and 0.1 seconds from now, the solar system will reach its peak, creating what's called a giant coronal mass ejection that will spew hot streams of magnetized solar plasma toward Earth, triggering simultaneous climate disaster feedback loops all over the world. It will not be survivable by humans.
Video. Giant ice caps are collapsing into the ocean. Images of tsunamis destroying coastal cities. Giant volcanic eruptions. Terrifying hurricane-force winds. Back to the interior of Jackie's hotel room.
A coronal what? What is going on?
With no normal flights and most communications down, we won't go into the ups and downs of Jackie's crazy adventure from Honolulu to the Los Angeles International Airport, and a treacherous landing complicated by farm and zoo animals running loose on the runway. They were freed by activists hoping that some life forms might survive, even though humans are doomed. In this next scene, Jackie's injuries are being nursed by a kind-hearted flight attendant.
Interior of Los Angeles International Airport. It's the early morning. The nose of the plane that smashed through the 3-story window now rests on the floor of the main terminal. Shattered glass, broken waiting area seats in its wake. The plane's passenger door is open, where we see Jackie lying on her back on the carpet near the nose of the plane. There's a small airplane pillow beneath her head and a dark blue airplane blanket over her. She begins to awaken. Her vision blurred, she blinks up at a drag queen flight attendant in her flight attendant uniform, cocktail in hand, hovering over her. She is no RuPaul.
Honey, we were worried about you. You've been out all night.
Jackie is dazed and disoriented. As the flight attendant's face comes into focus, Jackie snaps to and props herself up on her elbows, touching some minor bruises and cuts on her forehead.
Says, I can't afford to lose a whole night. I've got to get to the East Coast. Oh my God. That leaves only 78 hours, 52 minutes, and 0.3 seconds left to get back to her.
Quack, quack. Ducks, goats, and other farm animals wandering through the terminal behind them.
I need a flight to the East Coast.
Jet fuel's scarce now. You're lucky you made it this far.
Oh God, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? You know, do you know if they saved the captain?
Yeah, he's fine, sweetie. He came to and he's over in the lounge at the end of the world party.
Oh, good. He's okay.
With that, Jackie passes out again.
Oh, tut, tut.
Interior of the airport bar. It's still morning. The flight attendant enjoys another cocktail. She has Jackie propped up on a bar stool in an airport bar in front of a half-eaten plate of scrambled eggs, toast, and some orange juice. The dark blue airplane blanket still draping her shoulders. There are stranded crew and passengers all enjoying the end of the world party in the lounge behind them. We also see a cow, an ostrich, and various animals walking among them.
I can't believe I slept through 12 precious hours.
You need a drink.
Our flight attendant taps the bar in front of Jackie, and a partier behind the bar happily pours some vodka into the orange juice. Jackie takes a sip and looks up at the TV screen.
This is the EBS Morning Show Western Edition. First, we want to take a moment to thank our skeleton production team. We've sent all non-essential staff home to spend these last days with their families.
It's apparent that Madeline had to do her own hair and makeup.
I was hoping the hair and makeup department would have been considered essential.
In other news, there have been over 215,956 cigarette-related smoking deaths since January of this year. Oh, what the hell?
He lights a cigarette and takes a most satisfying puff.
We have breaking news. Some of our favorite rock stars mobilized quickly to lend their support by creating what they call End Aid and Hands Across the World. EBS entertainment correspondent Cheryl Wilkinson reports.
Interior of a recording studio, daytime. In the background, 30 or so 70s and 80s rock stars are assembled with headphones on, singing, "I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing." Cheryl Wilkinson interviews an 80s female rock star as the singing continues in the background.
Hi, Madeline. I'm here with a group of 70s and 80s rock stars who are reviving the classic 70s song, "I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing," to promote their cause.
Yeah, we couldn't think of a better song to say what we are trying to say long before greed and selfishness compromised our precious atmosphere so much that it could no longer protect us from this type of solar flare. Sadly, our generation caused a lot of the harm. Now our goal is to mobilize as many volunteers as possible to help our End Aid and Hands Across the World mission to make sure that no one in the world is left hungry or without a hand to hold at the end.
And you'll be live at the site of the original 1969 Woodstock concert to play music for all of those who want to gather and hold hands for the last day.
Yeah, so please join us if you can, if you need a place to be.
Also, I hear that military and private citizens around the world are helping you distribute the food.
Yes, you see, there is and always has been enough food for everyone, but it's been held back for economic reasons. If we could, we'd follow up and help all of these communities to sustainably produce their own food, but at this dire hour, this is the best we can do to offer support.
Look, if 70s and 80s rock stars can mobilize a global movement in less than 20 hours, I can make my way back to Jane in exactly 76 hours and 43 minutes, 26.8, no, 0.3 seconds.
She spots airport refugees exiting the terminal, luggage and children in tow. Ominous clouds can be seen through the terminal windows.
Listen, if I have to go on foot like those people, then I will, until I find a way back east.
I don't know. It's getting worse out there by the minute.
I have to try. Oh, and thanks for watching over me and, and for keeping an eye on the captain.
The flight attendant glances towards the captain, who's partying in the back lounge.
Well, that captain's a looker. No problem there.
Okay, you take good care of yourself, okay?
Oh, you too, honey. You too. I'll hold you in my thoughts that you make it back to your love.
We see dozens of bobbing horsehead oil pump jacks peppering the hills surrounding the road from the airport that goes to Los Angeles' urban centers. Jackie and the motley group of airport refugees trod their way north through this corridor, heading up La Cienega Boulevard. Dark clouds overhead. The wind picks up so much that each person has to lean forward at an almost 45-degree angle just to keep walking. Parents are holding on tightly to the children's hands. The group is pelted by large hail balls as small, vicious mini tornadoes begin to form.
Take cover!
Luggage is ripped right out of some people's hands. The group scatters in search of low spots near the road's shoulder to crouch down in to find some brush or a pole to hang on to. Meanwhile, the tornadoes topple electrical wire poles, tearing off some of the bobbing oil pump jack horse heads and beams. As some pumps are ripped apart, pieces are flung into the air, oil spurting into the sky. Jackie, in the middle of the road, is next to a toddler who's been blown out of her frightened mother's grip. A broken pump jack horsehead comes flying toward the child.
My baby!
Jackie grabs the toddler. Holding her safely like a touchdown football, she dives toward the road's shoulder, grabbing onto a wad of tall grass as the many tornadoes pass over them. The wind dies down. Covered in dirt and oil, Jackie stands and triumphantly lifts the toddler.
Toddler over here. She's okay.
The mother races over, pulling her child to her and hugging Jackie.
Oh my God, thank you, thank you.
Jackie and the mother look behind them to the south, hearing what sounds like a gospel-style choir.
Stay, don't see it,
As the music comes closer, a full-size bus with big airy windows and a medium-sized cargo truck become visible. The vehicles are painted in a beautiful royal blue with a bold professional graphic of a sweeping golden shooting star over the words Spirit's Way Life Center. The vehicles stop as congregants hop out of the bus to lovingly help load refugees. Reverend M and Reverend K come to the aid of Jackie and the mother and the toddler. Reverend M is a charismatic leader of this spiritual center.
Hi, I'm Reverend M, but everyone calls me Rev M. And this is Reverend K. Come with us. We're here to help you.
Reverend K dabs a small cut on the toddler's face and begins to lead the mother and toddler to the bus. The mother turns to Jackie, hugging her once more.
Again, I can't thank you enough for saving my baby. What's your name?
Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie.
You are a real hero out there.
Yeah, well, that thing was coming at us and I just did what I had to do. Believe me, I'm no hero. So, where's your group going?
Well, we're traveling the country to offer help and compassion where it is needed and to heal the earth where humans have disrespected and harmed it. Along the way, we're stopping at sacred earth sites to realign the universal energies.
You can really do that? I mean, like that's a thing?
Oh,
So wait, where are these sites?
well, like Sedona. I heard about the energy vortexes there. But we're ultimately making our way to the powerful energy vortex at the Great Serpent Mound in Ohio. The Bible blamed the snake for getting us into all this darkness. But I think the snake's only been a scapegoat for our own dark nature. Anyway, seems fitting for us to return to make things right by healing our relationship with the serpent and all of nature.
To Ohio? I mean, that's great. I'm trying to get to the East Coast. So, can I ride with you guys to Ohio?
Sure, we welcome you.
They mosey toward the bus as the wind begins to pick up again.
Well, let's get going. Come on, you're my best chance. Only thing, Reverend M.
Oh, please, Rev M is fine.
Rev M. I thought that there wasn't enough fuel left to get that far.
Oh, well. See, these are hybrid, clean-burning, tomato juice-powered vehicles. In a pinch, marinara sauce will do. If it's too toxic to eat, then we feel you shouldn't use it for fuel. And with the solar panels for additional electricity, we're all set.
The wind begins to pick up again as they talk. All the others have boarded the buses.
Where did you get this technology?
At Spirit's Way Life Center, we encourage our members to allow their divinely inspired creativity to flow through them and stretch beyond the limitations of the seemingly impossible. So I'm proud to say that these hybrid, clean-burning, tomato juice-powered vehicles were recently invented by our very own Eco Ministry, which is one of our congregation's many Better World ministries. They were prototype testing them on our bus and truck before releasing the technology as a healing offering to the world.
I mean, that's amazing. I mean, it's too bad the world will never see it.
Some congregants on the bus lean out the window, and they see several funnel clouds forming behind them. Congregant 1 and Congregant 2 cup their hands and yell out the window, gesturing wildly for Reverend M and Jackie to get on the bus. The wind is becoming much more forceful.
Twisters forming!
Rev M, climb aboard!
Others join in, waving to the Reverend to board. Reverend M calmly ushers Jackie onto the bus and then boards himself as the bus driver gives it some juice, pun intended, and peels off.
Will Jackie make it back to Jane on time? Is there hope for planet Earth? What other twists of fate are in store for our characters? For more about this and how Jackie's crazy journey could help repair the world as she races to heal her relationship, please stay for our live panel discussion, starting right now with the writer and cast. We'll be talking about bringing much-needed positive transformational visions to mainstream entertainment. We also invite you to visit awakeningworldplayers.com to find more information about connecting with screenwriter Robin Streichler and be a part of her journey to getting back to Jane onto movie screens. You'll also find more about our wonderful cast members and what they're up to on this page. That's awakeningworldplayers.com. We'll put that into the chat. Robin and the cast want to thank Scott Katamas and the Awakening World Show for hosting our reading tonight. And let's take a moment to acknowledge all of our Awakening World players for their performances. And now I'll turn it over to Scott to begin our discussion.
Well, let's start by giving a big Awakening World twinkle to Robin for writing this beautiful, beautiful script that has so many very I'm going to go to gallery views so we can see everybody. And turn on your cameras, everybody. Twinkle, Robin. Good job, Robin. Good job. And what a good, I'm going to keep it on gallery view just because it's so many interesting people. And Robin, I know you want to maybe acknowledge Jeffrey because Jeffrey did a good job doing all the editing here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Jeffrey. Can we spotlight him?
Absolutely, I'll pin him.
So everyone can see Jeffrey. Jeffrey's a good friend of mine. We worked together many times, and we really had a great time going back and forth and back and forth. As they say in film, the story is really written in the editing room. So after we had taped this with all of you, I don't know how much we cut, maybe 20 minutes or so, but we had to pick the best of the best and make it flow like it did. So it is a process, and Jeffrey and I had fun doing it, and he did some hard work. So, I want to thank everyone. We have Laura Coyle here, and we can maybe spotlight some of the cast.
Sure.
We have Laura Coyle, we have Karis Morgan Moyer, and we have Bill, who's our chameleon. So these Laura and Karis are the leads, and then Bill was our chameleon and did many, many parts, as you saw. And thank you. I see in chat, I'm getting some applause. I'm grateful for the audience, and I see most of you stayed, which is a really big compliment to all of us. So we're going to talk about a little, well, I want to tell you, we're going to have this discussion, and then Karis is going to read us one of the most beautiful Earth love poems I've ever heard. So please stay with us. I know it's getting late for some of you, but it's going to be worth it. And then I think we have some music later too. So so right now we're going to open up. Scott can join us, Jeffrey can join, and actually we can all have this discussion. Everyone who's in the interior Zoom room. We're going to talk about, so it could be gallery for all of us. We're going to talk about what this was to me, and what we're all hoping, I guess, to see, and our different views. And please add to our discussion in the chat. So originally my script was entitled Carpe Diem, but I think there was something else kind of like that. But so I changed the title. But it's a story about embracing the present and seeing, feeling, and experiencing the richness of every moment. And as we were talking tonight, we're also talking about experiencing the richness of our Earth in every moment, which it's there for us every moment, and we tend not to see it. And it was interesting last night, Dwayne Elgin and Kurt Johnson were talking about how media has to lead us, has to teach us, has to open our eyes to what's really happening in the world. Like the climate crisis, which is a crisis, is a third-page story in the news, and it has to be like an everyday story, like any other crisis is an everyday story. So they were talking about the media, and I'm talking it from an entertainment standpoint. So mine's non-violent, action-packed, no black and white, good and bad, evil kills, violently kills, good, evil, violently kills evil, and it doesn't have any explosions. Oh, it does. Yes, one thing blows up, but nobody's hurt. Sorry about that. Had to put in something blowing up. But that's to get the mainstream audience, because I want to bring more my work to mainstream audiences. So I'm putting in components without, with a positive vision for the future. You have to see the whole thing when we finally get it made. But we want to bring a positive vision. It does bring a positive vision for the future, ultimately in this script. Or keep in touch with us at awakeningworldplayers.com. There's a way to keep in touch with me, and send anybody interested in helping to move this production to film, and stay in touch. And we may be doing a longer reading of the whole thing. So that's one good reason to stay in touch. And we have our bios of the cast members on this page, and they all have some links, and keep in touch with them as well. So now I want to open it up to, and that's awakeningworldplayers.com. We just invented that as well. So for future things. So let's go to anybody who has a comment, anybody in our Zoom room here, and you can write chat, a chat on how what we see is this. I just thought, like, no wonder we have the world we have, because we're raised on video games and movies. The most popular ones are the Marvel movies, where it's just simply a good, violently murdering evil. So, let's start there. Talk amongst yourself. No, let's have some thoughts. Who would like to talk? You can raise your hand. You can just chime in. Okay, Tatiana.
Yeah, I just want to say how incredible that was. It hooked me from beginning to end. It was just such incredible storytelling, and the script was so smart and touched me. And I love how love was at stake, and I immediately felt invested in the characters, and invested in them finding each other again. And the acting, I loved the acting, and I just think this is such a needed message for the world, and I'm just so glad that I got to be here to hear it. So thank you for creating this, and thank you to all the cast members for doing such an exquisite job.
Cool. And Robin, I thought you wanted to have the poem read first. We're going to have the poem read.
Well, we could go with the poem. You're all here. Let's listen to the beautiful poem, and we'll continue our discussion after. This is Karis Morgan Moyer, and she's we'll just spotlight her, and she'll read us one of the most beautiful love poems to earth I've heard ever.
Thanks for asking me to read this. It's a beautiful poem. I really have enjoyed spending time with it today. So can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So here is The Turning, a poem by Rowan Mangan. The Turning. 1. My sweet darlings, however did you stay afloat for so long and never suspect you were built to breathe underwater? Why did you never toss thoughts around in 3 dimensions, never loose them like dragonflies into the deep sky? How could you fear falling? Didn't you see the spiders stringing safety nets across the earth every day, just in case? 2. Instead, you tore at this world, and I watched. I felt the air's grim thickening, saw the waters rise. You were huddled at the precipice, at the very brink, my loves, and still bellowing for more. What crucial inspiration turned you at the last? I'll never know what broke over you, and with what calamity, clamor, or grace. But when you knelt as one, it was a mighty sight. You placed your hunger on the ground and left it to lie among the gadgetry of old logics, beside the corpses of cruelty and greed. You were exquisite to me then, long-legged and bright-eyed, built of gravel, and stardust. Oh, my sweet funny loves, my unfurling galaxy, my pebble scatter of promises. 3. And so we came to the age of the great unbuilding, where everyone's name is stillness. Here, day gathers you into the deep magic of play. Here, night powders you with the ancient magic of rest. It's a time of dragonflies. So be soft in your hearts, dear hearts. For we are all cast shining and short-lived into the sky. And allow your face to take the shape of wonder when your children ask again to hear the tale of the time you almost broke the world. That's the poem.
Beautiful. Thank you for that beautiful reading.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful poem.
Yeah, on that note, let's reflect on what kind of media we can bring that poem through art, music, movement, dance. You know, the leaders, the transformational leaders, call upon the artists to show the vision for the positive vision for the world. What thoughts does anyone have on that? Would like to say?
I'll say something.
Okay.
I think it occurs to me that we do have a responsibility as artists to use our voices in that way. And when we're caught up in the maelstrom of being in the industry, in the business, sometimes we don't feel like we have a choice about that. And also, it's hard to decipher which came first, the chicken or the egg. Like, are we reflecting what is happening, or are we the voice of what could be? So as an actor, I am always excited to come across projects where there's a version of what could be to express. I haven't yet been called to write myself, but I do look for those kinds of projects that, you know, also I kind of take what I get. It's not always available. But anyway, thank you for contributing to that river.
Thank you. Bill, do you have a comment, or anyone else? Connie?
I'll say something.
Thank you.
I'll echo what Kara said, and I'll say, you know, I'm an actor, but I'm equally as much a singer-songwriter, and a lot, if not, I want to say almost all my songs have some component of kind of the same idea of what you're putting out there, that responsibility to grow people, to expand the mind, the heart, the soul of whoever's watching or listening. And I think sometimes a little bit of what Kara said too, or my version of it as the person putting it out there, you wonder, like, do people really want to hear this? Is it kind of preachy, or is it like soapboxy? Or like, I'll tell you a funny little story. I wrote a song for myself called Woman She Goes. And the chorus is, you know, it's about God. It's about a woman's search for God. And the chorus is, I am everywhere, I am everyone. You don't have to go so far to find me. I'm your lover sleeping, I'm the willow weeping, you know, on and on. And I just thought, I'm never singing this out loud in the world. I'm just never doing it. This is just for me, because this is crazy. I mean, what am I saying about God to people? It's ridiculous. And I sang it to my girlfriend at the time. She said, oh, this is great. You should sing it to this one other person. And I was like, all right, all right. The next thing I knew, it was my #1 most requested song. I did it on Ed McMahon's Next Big Star and won a couple of rounds doing that song. So it taught me so much. It was like, don't presume the world isn't needing it or wanting it. And I easily did that and could still do it. But then I have that evidence, like, nope, people are starving for it. People are hungry, thirsty, and starving for that kind of fueling and reminding of the stuff that we have forgot. So yeah. Great, Robin, just really great. And to do it with a little bit of spoonful of sugar kind of thing is also kind of useful, I think.
That is a great song of Laura's. Do you have it available, Laura? I mean, like,
Yeah, it's
can people
on
find
it's
it?
on iTunes and
Or
stuff.
if you could put it in the chat for us, if you can
It's such
give
a
us
beautiful
a
song.
link, that'd be great. And I just wanted to also talk about maybe the elephant in the room. We're having a hopefully major motion picture with gay leads, so same-sex leads. And I think it's important that we cross this barrier of like having films with same-sex or alternatively gendered people be about that. I mean, I have to tell you that's really all there mostly what there is. There is some headway, but very little. So it's just about people, and that's another thing. I'd love Bill to comment on that, because he did play the cross-dressing character.
Yes. Thanks, Robin. Yeah, thank you so much. And I so resonate with the comments that have been made so far. One thing that is interesting too about this, Robin, and thinking about it, is all the news coverage that we see. I worked in news. I worked in radio, on-air radio news. Also, I was a police beat reporter for a wire service, working out of LAPD headquarters. And there, more than ever, but throughout the news industry, it's true that when they're deciding whether to run a story, there's a saying that goes, if it bleeds, it leads. In other words, if there's an accident, well, did somebody die? Then it receives a higher priority than if somebody was just injured or if there were no injuries. So it's like it's kind of, and we are sort of focused to hear, to look forward to that thing. So it's kind of a paradigm that I'm really, it just kind of, it's one thing that really struck me. So I wanted to thank you for kind of we get sort of a background here of some of the people that are delivering the news. There is a choice that's being made by the powers that be in that industry. And we also, as listeners and just as humans, have a choice what we take in. If we choose to take in the negative, the bleeding, and so forth, or if we choose to take in something that's positive and unifying. So that's just a couple comments.
Yeah, thank you. My background, which led to me being able to have some insight into that, is I did work for CNN and the CBS affiliate in Boston. And they did say they picked sexy, they call it sexy, like issues, topics. So, I was saying, you gotta do something on this like nuclear plant, but a nuclear plant, we don't see taste or smell it, or it's not hitting us on the head. That's why especially we need media to show it to us, and they need to dig places that are having long-term effects, go to places on the earth that there are no people, but nature's being affected by climate change there. The news is, as Kurt and Dwayne were saying last night, they're the real lifeline for us to see the reality of what's happening in the world, and we need to expand that. Connie, did you have a comment? Because I just feel like you might have something to say about all this.
Oh, thanks for asking, Robin. Yeah, I just very much enjoyed it. The professionalism of the acting was fabulous, and it's such a treat to be here with you, several of you actors. So thank you for that. And the editing, I mean, the whole thing was so well done. But I just want to say, Robin, too, that what you're doing with your intent of going beyond right and wrong, that little video that played before you, about that field beyond right and wrong, and you're addressing that by not going into the victim perpetrator, over evil, good over evil thing. That's huge, because this move beyond duality is, in my world, it's the big leap, and you're taking us there with how you're structuring this.
So I just want to praise you for that. And yeah, just congratulations and thank you for being a leader and taking in the media to another level. And I just wish you all the best.
No, thank you. There's more of what Connie talked about, a lot, more about the showing, well, there's a character, I'll say what one character says: the world can change in a moment of choosing cooperation. And that's what I'll say about my script is we see how that happens. We see how that can happen. As you already saw, the rock stars mobilizing and getting the military and private citizens to do what we need to be doing, like feeding everybody. And of course, I added that they need to be, everyone needs to be able to live sustainably, not be taken care of by one, first world country or whatever. So that was the real goal. But, they were doing what they could. But, I'm throwing in the script in various places that the world is right now a place that's capable of thriving. And all we need, from my point of view in the script, is to cooperate with each other. Any other comments? Anybody else? Omashar, do you want to make a comment or?
I'm speaking through this thing. Such a profound time for us all. And I've been traveling around the world, singing songs like Laura was sharing with us. And my take on this is I'm transforming myself from the inside out. And as that happens and out pictures, it makes me really love and connect with the earth. And so my attack is transforming from the inside out. When I try to fix things from the outside in, they don't seem to work. And I think it's a call for us all on this planet to start tackling ourselves from the inside out and transforming our lives, transforming our connections, transforming our connection with the divine feminine is my purpose, I think. In this male form. So yeah, I'm a little overwhelmed by everything I've seen and felt tonight, and it's such an honor to be receiving this information, and thank you so much for your contribution, Robin. Amazing. Can't wait to see the whole film.
And you know what, I'm going to wrap up, Scott, unless someone else has another, and then we can go to Omashar for some music. But I want to say what a beautiful demonstration of collaboration this effort was. And Scott jumped right in and completely supported me in every way possible, and I could not be more grateful. And he invited me to host, and we created something together that I think is extremely beautiful, as we've been hearing people comment on our show tonight. Being able to, I was just thinking how we were able to show what John Quigley is doing to so many people, and show what Sue and David and Catherine are up to, and what a beautiful thing we were able to do tonight. And I just have nothing but deep gratitude to everyone that stepped up. I think there's just a force beyond me that definitely you kind of magnetized just beautiful people to this project and this weekend. So with that, unless anyone has one burning comment, we can go to Omashar and kind of wrap up. Scott?
Great. Thank you. Congratulations, Robin. Thank you, everyone. And as we listen to Omashar's music, let's give thanks for this evening, give thanks for each other, and this will be how we conclude our show.
Well, let's take a few deep breaths. I really have no thoughts. I have so much to process from this evening. And I usually do that with breathing and music. And the song that I've chosen, or the song that chose to be sung tonight, it's my Earth song. It's actually an Earth song. It wasn't written by me, but it's one that I have traveled around the world with. And it's called The Tear That Lost Fear of the Ocean. And I'm just going to sing it, and let's see how we feel after. when flowers grow, dripping with dew, and rivers flow in sapphire blue. I certainly know what I forgot I knew. I'm a tear that's lost fear of the ocean. And when autumn sun kisses my cheek, whilst cool winds come from mountains peak, with poems on my tongue and no wish to speak, I'm a tear that's lost fear of the ocean. I'm a tear that's lost fear of the ocean. And sweet water, when I give you my heart, I already start to feel better. My sweet water, won't you send me your love forever and ever and ever, forever and ever and ever. When tender hands trace memories where powdered sands meet temperate seas, I don't understand, but I love mysteries. I'm a tear that's lost fear of the ocean. And when evening stars shine all around, my grieving heart's no longer down. And things that were lost, that's where true hope's found. I'm a tear that's lost fear of the ocean. I'm a tear that's lost fear of the ocean. And sweet water, when I give you my heart, I already start to feel better. My sweet water, won't you send me your love forever and ever and ever. And sweet water, when I give you my heart, I already start to feel better. My sweet water, won't you send me your love forever and ever and ever, forever and ever and ever. I'm a tear that's lost fear of the ocean. I'm a tear that's lost fear of the ocean. I'm a tear that's lost fear of the ocean.
Thank you, Oma Shar. That was beautiful, beautiful way to end this evening. And so everyone knows Scott just had an internet malfunction, so he's not able to close us out here. But again, Robin, thank you so much for bringing this to the show tonight. Thank you, everyone, all the actors for being there and participating in all the work that you put in reading that. Oma Shar, thank you for that beautiful music. And Tatiana, if you're there, your music was so beautiful as well. And just being so grateful for this community. I feel blessed that we're on this journey together. So keep in touch with Robin and her awakeningworldplayers.com, everyone, to see how this all ends. It's going to be exciting. We will definitely invite Robin back as things progress and, give a little teaser about what's to come. So anyway, thank you all. Robin, any last comment before we sign off?
Yeah, join us tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. We're having a marathon Earth Day weekend, and we're gonna have some beautiful nature intuitives. So we're going to be connecting personally with nature in some various ways. And I know that we've all lost a connection At least I can speak for myself, and it's going to be such a good reminder. So that's at 10 a.m. You have the links because you're here. You have the links for tomorrow, and join us. It'll be a sacred ending to the sacred weekend, and I appreciate all your support. It's just wind beneath my wings. Thank you.
Yes, that's right. 10 a.m. tomorrow Pacific time. Scott will be back on with Robin and three guests. So please join us, and we will see you all tomorrow. Good night, everyone. Good night.